Howdy. So, I've been battling doing this for a while, bouncing back and forth. And I told myself that I really wanted to do it, but I really don't feel like doing it. And so I'm just going to do it anyway because I hate thinking to myself or telling myself I should do something and then not actually doing it. And this has been something on my mind for, okay. This has been something on my mind for actually a year or so now, is to try to do a daily vlog about mood. And I told myself I wouldn't actually give an intro to this, but anyway, it is May 21st, 2025 at 5:44 in the morning. So, here we go. Mood is depressed and angry. Go figure. Been like this for the last at least week. It's the end of the semester, and this inevitably happens. Once the semester is done, I guess all of the stress and pressure that I was under to get grades in and deal with student concerns and all that was too much, and I just implode and just sink into a hole. I think this has been a little bit better than previous ones because, well, I'm in the office, and usually I get my ass in gear when I get paying to buy either one of my colleagues or my department chair saying, "Hey, we haven't seen you in a week. What's going on?" The other difference is I have more responsibilities now, and so I don't know. I feel like I actually have to do them for reasons that I still don't quite understand. Because in in one sense, let me stop distracting myself with background shit. In one sense, I have a lot of suicidal ideation. And a couple days ago, I really was real tempted. It was the closest I've been to. I was actively considering an attempt. So, for whatever that means. And yeah, I'm now fucking just angry and just I'm tired. I've been tired of this shit for over a decade now. There's really not much new I can say. One of the reasons why I one of the reasons why I don't want to do this is because it's going to be repetitive. I'm going to be saying the same shit over and over again. But I feel as if it would be a needed record if anyone should happen to find this. I don't plan on advertising this channel in any real way. So it is just basically a record of how I am dealing with shit. And yeah, it's going to be repetitive because that's what depression is. That's what my depression is. It's the same shit over and over and over and over again. It's very much like Sisyphus. I describe my mental emotional health as being in a well. I can never get out of that well, but because I'm here recording this, obviously I haven't hit the bottom of the well, because for me, that means, check it out. So I just stay trying to climb myself out of that well and never seeming to actually get out of it. There are days that I'm content-ish. There are days that I'm even happy. I do have good days. I can't say that I don't. Or I would be lying to say that I don't. But, as I've often told my friends and therapists, it's not fucking worth it. particularly as I get older, I recognize that my health, both physical and mental, is going to deteriorate. So what the fuck am I waiting for? What am I holding on to? What is it about this? What is it about this that I don't, I have faith in God, and I have this relationship, or believe I have this relationship with this divine creator. But it isn't, but my faith isn't strong enough, because one of the main reasons why I haven't done it, and why my previous attempts have failed, is because I'm afraid of annihilation. I'm afraid of going through all of this and having nothing at the end. Which is weird, because if I have nothing, if I am annihilated, then I won't have any regrets, because I won't exist anymore. I will only exist in the memories and minds of other people, and what little of myself that I've been documenting on the YouTubes and social media in general. Which is a weird thing to think about, just in general. Moving into this age of having such free access to recording yourself, your thoughts, and actions, where they are basically immortal in a way. I don't have any children, but if I had children, it would be weird to think that, 20 years from now, they could be watching this. How's that going to actually affect social dynamic, particularly in, as Gen Xers die? There's people had access to home movies and shit, but usually that was just for rich white people. But now everybody has access to it. Like, what? Anyway. I like to think about shit like that. But that's not what this is for. This is for talking about mood and shit. And so, yeah, I don't know really what much to say. I feel like, non-zero part of me wants to not be here anymore. It's not a large non-zero, but it isn't insignificant. And what I mean by that is that I have to distract myself, because if I don't distract myself, then I wallow in it. And I just keep that voice in my head that berates me, that belittles me, that the pain that causes me just sits there. And emotional pain isn't sharp, or at least not this kind of pain. I don't experience it as being sharp. I experience it as this never-ending ache that cannot be diminished in any way. There's no salve for it. There's no Tylenol for it. Definitely is no Vicodin for it. But it just sits there. It doesn't end. There's no reprieve from it other than distraction. And I have to be constantly distracted, which leads to hours upon hours of gaming, television, sometimes book reading, although book reading is difficult as a distraction because there's too much quiet. And I've gotten to the point now that I used to be able to read and listen to music at the same time. Can't do that anymore. I lose focus when I can't focus on what I'm doing if I'm listening to music, which is weird because music for me was was always there. I would always have music playing, mainly to sort of drown out the shit that was going on in my head. But now, I guess age or what have you, yeah, I can't have music on anymore when I do that. I still have music on when I drive, when I walk, anytime that when I have quiet moments, I have to have music playing, because if not, demons start, playing in my head, having tea parties, as I used to say. And so yeah, music. So distraction. So reading, the reading isn't a distraction enough. I have to be basically engrossed in what I'm doing, or at least it has to be. It's something that I can literally just put my brain on autopilot and just go with it. So yeah, that's what I've been doing lately. Just playing hours upon hours of video games, and interspersing that with television. This time's a bit different from previous times because I've actually been keeping up a little bit with household chores and that sort of thing. So my apartment is not the biohazard that it has been in the past during these phases. So yay for me. Progress? I mean, shit. It only took me, nearly 30 years to get to this point? Don't get me wrong, my apartment is pretty fucking gross, but it's not as gross as it used to be. Yay. I guess that's a win. Therapists tell me I should count my blessings, be grateful and all that. And I think there's power to that. If I were to talk to someone else if I were to give advice to someone who had asked for it, and was suffering a depression, primarily a situational depression. I don't know if I would give it to someone who has bipolar 2 types of recurrent types of depression. But yeah, with situational depressions, I certainly would suggest, counting your blessings, realizing that, there are good things in life. And if you wait long enough, those good things will come back. Or at the very least, the good things will outweigh the bad things. Because that has helped me in the past, is to count my blessings and look at my apartment and realize that, I have financial issues. Some, mainly because I don't have a car. Because of stupid decisions I made during COVID, and to a certain extent still make, I got myself into a significant financial hole during COVID and had to give up my car, and I really haven't been able to replace that as a mode of transportation. I have a scooter, but I let that sit too long, and now it won't start. And I've been dragging my feet on that to figure out how to repair it. But, which, sucks, and very much contributes to my feeling of being a worthless piece of shit. And also it very much limits my social activities. Not that I had very many prior to losing out on my vehicle. So, and I'm experiencing, I guess, senior moments. I don't know. My therapist and such were basically telling me that I shouldn't worry about my memory problems, but I'm going to worry about my memory problems. Now I remember what the hell I was talking about. I have on paper, I have a fairly good life. I make a good living. Yeah, I fucked up financially, I fucked up financially, but I am trying to, I am making an honest attempt to rebuild it. Blessings. I have a very good friend in Vic, whom I consider a brother. I have some very good friends, albeit they're distant. I have some also, friends from college, people that I've met in real life, but I also have friends on the internets. But unfortunately, I have not met them in real life. In fact, a lot of them, I don't even know what they look like. I only know what they sound like, which is just a fucking weird sort of friendship to have with folks. But that's the digital age for you. I'm not starving. I don't have anyone that depends on me. I'm not letting anyone down, per se. I am not doing a radical job at my job. There's definitely room for improvement there. So, but overall, yes, I have my health. I have a roof over my head. I have food. I do have people who care about me. So, on the surface, gratitude. It's good. But here's the rub, is it doesn't help. It might help in the short term, it might help in a certain crisis, but when you're dealing with, when I'm dealing with shit like this, that it's ongoing, it's ever present, it never ends, you don't get relief, release during these phases. Counting your blessings is a good way to pass a few minutes, but it ultimately doesn't help. The shit keeps flooding back to you. I got my self-hatred for my parents. I came about it honestly. I wasn't overly physically abused. There were a few times when I was physically abused. But the funny thing is, I really wish I was physically abused. Like, I really wish my father or mother had beaten the ever-living fuck out of me on a regular basis. Because then I would feel as if I were justified in feeling this way. Because I don't. Because I was raised not to. I was raised not to believe that emotional pain is the same or on the same footing, or either from a detrimental side or from a compassionate side. It's on the same footing as physical pain. Because emotional pain ultimately comes down to character. If you don't have the ability, if you don't have emotional resilience, as the kids might say today, then you're a weak person. You have weak character. You should be able to shrug this shit off. You should be able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And because I can't, it contributes to my feeling like a piece of shit. And I've tried to explain this to folks, and I've tried to explain this to therapists, and unfortunately it doesn't stick. It doesn't, I don't know, they don't know what to do with it. So I really don't talk to my friends about these feelings anymore. I try back in therapy again, but I don't know how long that's going to last, because I've sort of broached this in the last couple of therapy sessions, and she has really nothing meaningful to say. She wants to concentrate on goals and all that kind of stuff. And as I've said in the past many times, how the fuck am I supposed to have self-care for someone I fucking hate? I don't get that. Like, if I see someone I hate drowning, let the fucker drown. Like, what is in it for me to help someone I fucking can't stand? I mean, yeah, obviously, my being around, obviously I'm not schizophrenic or I don't have a divided personality. I understand that, by not saving the person I hate, who's me, I'm not saving myself. And so therefore I experience the effects. But maybe I should. I feel I should. Because as a scientist, and again, as I tried to explain to friends and therapists, I have evidence to suggest that I'm a shitty person. I have a lot of evidence. And a good chunk of it is actually objective evidence that I am a shitty person. I'm not going to bring that up now. I don't feel like sharing that even to whoever might randomly stumble upon this. But yeah, there's objective reasons that I'm a piece of shit. There's a lot of subjective ones as well, but, and I know it's part of human nature to emphasize the negative and not accentuate the positive. But that doesn't fucking help me. That doesn't help anyone. I mean, yeah, obviously I know there are good things in my life. I'm well educated. I managed to get through grad school with a PhD, and that's on the face of it. That's not very easy to do, particularly if you're even if you're motivated to get one. Actually, I'd say it's fairly impossible if you're not motivated. But if you're have a lot of emotional resilience, or you're do not suffer from a mental illness, grad school is hard. It's pretty tough. And so the fact that I actually managed to get through it, given my given the hurdles, or given the my limitations, I'm actually very proud of it. I'm very proud of that achievement. However, and this is the thing, is no matter what positive thing I come up with, you come up with, or anyone comes up with, I've got a but. I'm not a research scientist anymore. I wasn't a very good one in the very short time that I was a research scientist. Wasn't a very good one. I do not have the eye for detail. I do not have, again, the emotional fortitude to push forward through adversity, because research does have adversity. You hit roadblocks, both from a research standpoint and also from dealing with the problem standpoint, and also dealing with publishers and all this other grants and all this other shit. So, and for whatever reason, I do not feel that what I do now, which is instructional faculty and trying to advocate for astronomy or bring astronomy out to the public, is on the same level. I feel like a failure. I feel as if I am not good enough. That what I'm doing is not good enough. And part of that is that's the culture. Even in the best of circumstances, even in the best, most welcoming, open-minded departments, doing what I do is always considered lower than doing research. I was speaking with one of the. She was never one of my professors, but she was in the department when I was there. It was in my later years. I no longer had coursework, so she was there, but I never worked with her or had any classes with her. And she came here for a colloquium, and I told her what I was doing. And one of the things I was telling her I was doing was talking to flat earthers and all that. And she just kind of looked at me like, "Well, I'm glad you're doing it." So basically, so that she doesn't have to, the real astronomers don't have to waste their time with dealing with that sort of thing. Granted, it's very, very possible that I am reading a whole lot into it, but again, I have a fairly good sense of things. I'm wrong on a decent number of occasions when it comes to divining people's motivations for things, but on the whole, I'm not. Or at least I've not found that. They tell me it's a defense mechanism, that people who suffer from trauma or suffer from continual abuse as a child develop this sort of sixth sense of how the people around them are acting and why. because you're looking for warning signs. You're looking for signs of, oh, that my mother's about to go fucking ballistic. I should fucking leave the room. Or I should get the fuck out of that situation. Or if I'm in the situation, I know what not to say. To make the situation worse. So yeah. With every positive thing in my life, I can immediately combat that with, it's not good enough. That whatever I have is fucked in some way. It's somebody else would have done it differently. Someone else would have done it better. Basically anybody else would have done it better. This is the sort of self-talk that I have. And this is the self-talk that I have all the fucking time, unless I'm distracted. I don't know if you can imagine that. Pretty positive you can't. But I have been having this self-talk since high school. So, let's say my first attempt was my first hospitalization was when I was 13. So let's say I really started becoming aware of this at 18. Just to put some numbers behind this to give you a sense of scale, I guess. I graduated high school in 1994. It is now currently 2025. So can I do math? 31 years. I have been thinking this way about myself for 31 years. When is it going to stop? When can I stop? In the past, I've asked, hey, and I've actually responded this way, and of course it gets me nowhere, is, people ask me, what can they do to help? Well, you can start normalizing suicide for people who suffer from chronic symptoms of depression. You can not guilt trip me into giving me a reason to stay alive. You can tell me it's okay to end my pain. But no one wants to do that. And, when I'm not here, I don't want to do that. But I'm here. So, again. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. This is my journaling, I guess. My hand cramps up too much now. I used to journal off and on quite a bit. I really love writing. That tactile sense of pen to paper. But what was I going to say? I just don't physically do it anymore. Like I said, my hand cramps up. Also like books. I particularly a empty journal book, because it has possibilities. Like it just brims over with what are the possibilities of what can be found within this, like what can be written in here, what knowledge, what wisdom can be stored in this book with its empty pages. Which is one of the reasons why it's daunting to start writing anything, is because the sense of greatness, that the sense of potential that a blank page has, is never going to match up to the reality of what's written onto it. So why fucking bother? Um, that's my sense of that's my perfectionism. That's my brand of perfectionism. Is if it can't be perfect, which I know it can't, because one, I'm a human being, and two, I'm a piece of shit. Why do it? Why do it at all? Why put in that emotional, or why put in that energy? Because to me, it ultimately boils down to a cost benefit analysis. I have a certain amount of energy that I can spend. And so, and it's selfish. It's just pure selfishness. I feel like I feel like this more often than not. So I feel like the energy that I do have should be into things that make me feel good. And fuck everybody else. Or fuck what it does to my future career. And fuck what it does to the long term. I am in pain. I want it to stop. I want it to not be around. So I find short-term solutions to this problem, and they are selfish. Because again, they're selfish in the sense of not taking into consideration the bigger picture. It does not show concern about my well-being. It does not show concern about or ultimate well-being. It does not show concern about the well-being of people whose lives I affect. It's just about ending or stopping feeling the pain or dulling it. So, yeah. And I don't know. Also afraid. I have been alone for so long now, both physically and emotionally, alone for so long now. I don't think I know how to not be anymore. Even if I got to the point where I could legitimately hold up an equal partnership with somebody, I could I had the ability to emotionally engage with a partner. I fucking hate that term. With a significant other. If I could give and take equally. I don't know how. Even if I were capable of it, I don't know. I no fucking clue how to do it anymore. And a good part of me doesn't want to, because that would require sacrificing a certain amount of freedom. And living alone the way that I have has certain freedoms, mainly that I can be selfish, that I can just say, fuck it, I'm not doing anything today, and I am not beholden to fuck all. I can take a complete mental health day, if you want to call it that. I don't have to talk to anybody that I don't want to. I don't have to wear clothes if I don't want to. I can fart to my heart's content. Yep. Complete freedom. In a way. Not complete, but freedom to do whatever the fuck I want. Obviously, I don't have certain other freedom because I don't have a car. So, although I could rent one, and occasionally I have, just so that I could drive. So, I don't know how I would give that up. I don't know how I would be able to sacrifice that sort of freedom of not being able to be. So I guess in a way, it signals to me that I'm not capable of being an equal partner, equal significant other. Because I'm not willing to give that up, or at least not yet, or at least not for anyone I've met. Because ironically, in the past, I have very much settled when it comes to relationships because I did not want to be alone. I would get myself into a relationship and I wouldn't end it, even though everything about it was wrong. Everything, and it's not the other person. In a lot of cases, it was not the other person's fault. There was nothing they were doing that was wrong. They just didn't click. We just didn't click. Their interests and mine just didn't align. There were a couple that were, but I would stay in these relationships for as long as they would have me because I did not want, one, the emotional burden, or not emotional burden, but conflict avoidance. You know, dumping someone isn't exactly the most fun thing to do in the universe. So I didn't want to deal with that. Sticking my head in the sand is something I used to be very, very good at. And the other thing was I would rather be in a bad relationship than not be in a good one. But see, that's where one of the pieces of evidence why I'm a shitty person is because it was a bad relationship because of my disengagement. You know, my partner, my significant other had a certain expectation that I cared about them enough that I wanted to be in this relationship. I wanted the relationship to continue. I wanted the relationship to be good. I wanted the relationship to flourish. And that was a lie. I didn't. When it ultimately came down to it, I was there because of my need to not be alone. And yeah, I think that I have hurt a number of people. And I certainly have pissed off a couple of them because they don't talk to me anymore, which is weird. But that's circumstantial. That has to do with the circumstances. It was just, yeah, weird because I haven't been able to wrap my head around why they just, I don't think they hate me. I think they just are so disgusted, might be a better term, that they're not going to waste any more time on me than they already have. So, yeah, I've been shitty because I have lied about that. Because I sacrificed. Because I know exactly the kind of woman I want to be with. And maybe gender may not have much, may not be all that a factor. I don't know. Maybe I'll expound some days on my sexual abuse and how that really kind of made any sort of explorations of dudes difficult. But now that I'm older, and that trauma's more behind me. That's one nice thing about being forgetful or having distance is a lot of that trauma, you just forget. I mean, the feeling is there, but it's less. I mean, I guess time heals all wounds in that bullshit. Ish. But anyway, I have this person in mind that I want to connect with. And I haven't found him yet. There was one person who came real close and may well have been the one, if such a thing exists. But I fucked that up early. I just fucked that up. And I'm sure that they are no longer the same person I have the person I have been carrying a torch for decades. Not so much recently. I think I'm finally over it. I'm sure that the person that I'm holding or held that torch for so many years doesn't exist anymore. Because people change over time. So, the romantic in me was like, oh, it'll be a great love story if we connect back when we're, in our 50s, 60s, or whatever. Bittersweet sort of romance, but it would be romantic. And I'm a romantic dude. I loves me some unattainable romance. Um, the whole Pride and Prejudice kind of whole kit and caboodle. Like romance, not, I'll say it. I have a friend who's very much into this genre, but fucking romance that you would buy off the shelf, it's fucking smut. Um, it's softcore porn. I don't need any of that. If I want porn, I'm gonna go to porn. Like that's what I have that desire. I'm going to go there. But if I want romance, then you know, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for hearing about someone guys how a guy's dick gets hard or how anyway. Not looking for that shit. Looking for something pure. But anyway, there's woman, and wow, I'm going for 40 minutes. I guess I had a lot to say. Hopefully I don't do this every every day. But I have this idea of a person in my head and I'm not willing to sacrifice to get it. And it goes beyond physical. I mean, obviously I have certain physical parameters. Talking like this person is a piece of meat or a fucking character in a video game. Obviously I have personal preferences when it comes to appearance. Body shape, that sort of thing. But it's the emotional side to it. It's the intangible aspects of the person that are most important and need to be there. Because if they're not, there's no connection. And if there's no connection, there's no point. But the problem with that is that what I'm afraid of is that leaves me with no net. When I get older and when I get to the point where I'm going to need to start depending on someone else for assistance, where people will have significant others and children to help them with that, potentially, I sure shit am not. Like, you can argue whether or not how often children actually help their parents as they age, but that's not even an issue for me. That's not even something that can be taken into consideration because there is no one. And yeah, I'm afraid of this. Every beat of the heart is taking me closer and closer to a reality that I do not want to face. A reality of being in an assisted living facility, shitting myself in a bed surrounded by people I don't like or people I don't know, people I don't want to know, and being forgotten by the world. But hey, I got these videos, so I guess I won't be too terribly forgotten. Ish. So, yeah, I think that's all I got to say today. 45 fucking minutes of it. This has helped. And really, ultimately, that's what this is going to do is, I just need to get shit off my chest. And since I can't do that with friends anymore, because I've done it for far too long, they may object. If they were to hear this, they would more than likely object because they're good people. But the simple fact of it is that this shit is the same over and over and over again. And you cannot put that burden on someone over and over and over again. It's not fair to them. And it diminishes the reality. If you had a friend who continued to complain about the same shit over and over and over again, wouldn't you start thinking to yourself, dude, just get the fuck over it. Just do something. Like, it diminishes the reality of it. It diminishes the seriousness of it. And when it comes to someone's pain, when it comes to my pain, I don't want my pain diminished. So I can't go to them anymore. And, mental health as it is, God, that's a whole nother fucking mess. Trying to find a lifesaver for someone you hate. So yeah, I'm real motivated to work through the fucking system that is the U.S. mental health care service system, which again, for all of its faults, I'm sure there are systems out there which are way worse. So at least we got one, I guess. But yeah, with therapy, I see my therapist once a week. Although with this new one, I think she's giving me more of a lifeline, at least during these sorts of times of quote unquote crises. But it's, 50 minutes once a week. Really can't do this. I can't get the shit off my chest because, again, also my therapist is really interested in getting me to set and accomplish goals, which I could give a fuck about because they don't help me, because I don't achieve them, because I don't give a shit. I just want the fucking pain to stop. I just want these demons in my head to go the fuck away. And that's never going to happen. Ever. And I still will not accept that. Which is where the anger comes in. I know I need to accept the reality of my illness, and I need to accept the reality of the symptoms of my illness. But fuck that. This is just fuck. Yeah, yeah. I just can't do it. I just cannot do it. The same arrogance that sets the bar to what I consider to be good enough is the same arrogance that says, fuck this, you're too important of a human being to be treated like this by life, to have this illness. So I say so a lot. It's my placeholder, I think. Interjection, is that the term? Like mine is so. Really, really wish I would stop saying it, stop using it. Trying to become more cognizant of my speech patterns and saying things slower and saying things without interjection. Mind races, though, and I often will speak without thinking because it just seems like the thought goes and I'm just a passenger on the back of it. And it's just something comes out and it's there. Hopefully, I will, if I say something completely bad shit, I will realize what I'm saying is bad shit, once my mind catches up to it and will say, no, scratch that. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Hopefully. I think I am better at public speaking than I used to be. I do it enough. Now I'm just rambling. I do that. Mainly right now I'm rambling because I don't want to go back. I don't want to end this because that means that I have to go back to my life, which I don't fucking want to do. I'd rather sit here in front of this camera and blather on for another 2-3 hours. Because then, one, it's self-indulgent. So, yay, it's all about me. And hey, I'm an arrogant son of a bitch, so fuck yeah, win-win. Or win, or whatever. But, the other thing is, once I turn this off, silence sets in. the shit in my head sets, the party in my head starts going again. And then on top of that, I do still have, the semester's over, but I have quite a number of responsibilities I have to see to. And I don't want to see to them because they don't give me joy. Now, I know that's a first world fucking problem. Suck it up. But if I had some form of joy in my life, like real joy, not like distraction, junk food joy, but real joy in my life, maybe I could suck it up, do it to get the paycheck. I do, but I also have these dreams, the outreach and such. I have these ideas and plans because I do care about astronomy. I do care about public outreach. But my depression just fucking cuts the legs out of it. It just numbs everything. You don't feel anymore. You feel pain, but ironically or just weirdly, everything else is just numb. Or you just don't give a shit anymore. You just don't, or I don't give a shit anymore. I don't give a shit about things that matter to me. I don't give a shit about people who matter to me. I just don't give a shit. All I give a shit about is me. Me, and how I'm feeling. So if I had real joy somewhere, then maybe ultimately it comes down to wishing I did not have bipolar. That's what it ultimately comes down to. And again, that's me not accepting my situation. It's not accepting my illness. And if I can't accept my illness, then I can't truly take responsibility for it. And if I can't truly take responsibility for it, this is what I get. Talking to a video camera at 6:30 in the morning. And being alone. All right, I think I am done with this. Yeah, whatever. All right. See what tomorrow brings. Peace out.